Okay, y'all. So I finally did it. I rewatched Wally. I was cooking me for where I had Wally in my Pixar tier list, and I did my homework and I rewatched. And I gotta say, bro, Wally is better than I remember, but I still don't really rock with it like y'all rock with it. I don't know what it is, bro. I just like I got the core concept of the show, and then it was that I get the double entendres. I get, the meaning behind the movie and why it's important. But at the same time, I don't really care like that. Like it, like Eve and Wally's love story. I'm like, oh, that's cool. By the time it gets to the end, right? But most of the time while I was watching, I was just like, okay, like I get why I did not like it as a kid. But I respect why like people like it. Like I get it now. Get it now. But I'm just still not really in agreement. If I had to put it in a different tier, I'd probably just go as high as B because it is a well-made movie. I'm not going to take that away from it. It's a well-made movie, and I just don't think it was. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it. That's all I got for it. But let me know how y'all feel about kind of like my answer now, or as far as like why I put Wally where I put it. I'm still on my Pixar journey, so once we fully catch up with everything, I'll do another tier list and we can, hash it out from there. And I want to talk a little bit about Alien Romulus because I finally finished it. It took me like 3 times to finish it because it's spooky. I'm not a spooky guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a spooky guy. So to finally have finished it, I feel like it was accomplished. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even saying it's the most scary movie out there because it's really not. But it's just like the anticipation is what really gets me. But that's not the point I'm trying to make of this video. The point of this video is to tell y'all that I still have so many questions about Alien Romulus and more so about the lore that I'm finna go and watch like all of them, bro. I don't know how long it's gonna take me, bro. I don't know how long it's gonna take me because they just dropped Alien Earth. They got the Predator movie that's about to come out. Live action joint. Like I've always rocked with Predator, like Alien versus Predator, and like the actual Predator Alien. And I loved Prey just because it's like it's more tangible. But Alien is not tangible at all, bro. Like that joint is just crazy. It's literally crazy, bro. And why was there so many of them on the ship? I don't know. I don't know. And the ending with the hybrid, crazy. But I watched the video and I heard some of the lore. I'm interested. I'm interested. So I'm gonna do some more homework on Alien. Let me know how y'all felt about Alien Romulus. Okay, new topic on the channel or social media, wherever you're gonna see this, because I've been watching Critical Role. We are done with the overture. That's what they're calling the overture for campaign 4, and I'm excited, bro. I'm excited because they're doing a West Marches style, which is like Game of Thrones, basically, where they're gonna be rotating tables. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, bro, I'm talking about D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. And I personally enjoy the actual plays more so than like I'm like running to actually play the game. And I can't wait for Stranger Things to come out as well. But I really like what they're doing right now because it's like a perfect time to start Critical Role. So many questions, so many videos people are making, and I'm just excited. I don't know. I'm not making this video to like, necessarily like say like, okay, every week I'm about to come to y'all with a breakdown. But I might talk about it. I might talk especially in plot twists. I might have a little segment on it just because like crazy stuff be happening. Like literally Raina Lee Mulligan, great name by the way. Raina Lee Mulligan literally murked somebody before the campaign even started, bruh. I know, spoilers, but if you're watching this point, you probably already seen it. You know what I'm saying? And they got him back, but the threat was there. And it's crazy because it's like, from what I'm hearing, Critical Role has always taken a like, I don't want to say a softer approach, but like a gentler approach to getting into the story. But Brandon said, nah, I'm finna go crazy. I'm finna go crazy. And we in the market. So I'm very excited for what they got planned for these next episodes and just the campaign in general. But I don't know if I have a favorite character. I still gotta see more. But I think, you know, Talison's character being a mask and like being like literally like an entity more so than a person. Very interesting, especially with his backstory. And then there's just a lot of world building that's happening that like kind of set the stage for whatever they about to do, bro. So I'm just making the video to tell you I'm geeked. I'm geeked about the joint. So I'll let y'all go. And if y'all Critical Role fans, let me know. Okay, so I have been thinking about the concept of just like how do you create your own buzz. I was watching a Lil Russell video where he was kind of talking about it and basically saying like, yo, like you gotta create your own buzz before you expect somebody else to like kind of show you love or share your content or whatever you're making, because you can't really have the expectation of people. You got to make people want to share what you are creating, you know. And I really like the idea of it because it puts the ball in your court versus it being a situation where like you think like maybe if I just get in contact with this person or make a video with that person, then it's like, oh, all my problems are gonna be solved. But it's like, nah, like you gotta create the groundswell that will propel you when you do have those moments, you know. So that's just some little 2 cents, you know what I'm saying, about creating your own buzz. And as far as like something tangible that you can do, one thing that I have talked about in a separate video is like when I was like trying to make like 8 to 7 videos a day, trying to get up to like 10, and having to sacrifice a little bit of quality to do that. And you know, I'm at the point now where it's like, okay, I can do that, but I kind of stretch myself way too thin. When I do that, I'd rather, focus on like maybe getting 5. You know what I'm saying? Get a 5, but get a good 5. Matter of fact, a great 5 in. You know what I'm saying? And focus on just continuing to make the content better versus just making the content sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what you kind of do, that could play a factor into like, longevity and not burning out. So but at the same time, you gotta do what you gotta do, bro. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below about creating your own buzz. How do y'all do that? How do y'all tackle that? Okay, so if y'all don't know, I have been playing Ghost of Yotei, and as a seasoned Ghost of Tsushima player, I played that joint multiple times, which is not something I do, just to keep it a buck with y'all. But Ghost of Tsushima was like one of my favorite games of all time. So coming into Ghost of Yotei, I got high expectations. Obviously, I think it's going to be a different game, but my expectation a lot more within just the mechanics of playing something new, while also like I'm just wondering like how have they really improved or changed things. And I gotta say, bro, I'm really enjoying Ghost of Yotei. I think for me, the biggest difference between Ghost of Yotei and Ghost of Tsushima is like the narrative, because it's like still kind of same gameplay style as far as like gameplay loops goes. Different terrain, obviously, because it's a different place. But because Ghost of Yotei is more like Kill Bill, where it's like just like a revenge kind of story, and you just kind of, going about your business, not necessarily worrying about being good or evil. In a sense, I say evil, but just like, how Jin in Ghost of Tsushima was battling, becoming the ghost, because that's the means to an end to, defeat the Mongols. But like, or do I stick to what my uncle has taught me, essentially in being a samurai, having to deal with that while playing? It's like a different experience than what I'm dealing with now, being in more like a Kill Bill situation where it's like, we have all these memories, we have this mission, and we're kind of just building and building and building and building up to that point with like lore being not necessarily explained, but explored as we go. But I'm enjoying the game. Let me keep it a buck. I'm enjoying the game. So okay, so I've been watching Solar Opposites, and if you don't know, Solar Opposites is like made by the same people that made Rick and Morty. And the similarity that I noticed the most that relates to two shows is kind of the side stories that kind of become almost bigger than the main story, where you got Corvo, Yummy, Terry and Jesse being like the main characters, and obviously the people too. But And then the most interesting thing about the show to me being the wall and all the things going on in between the crazy different missions and journeys and adventures that, the main core audience goes on. Because like in Rick and Morty, for me, like all of the different universes and different clones and not clones, but different versions of Rick and Morty and all those different storylines playing a factor into like where we are today. It's a more active role in Solar Opposites, and I really like that and appreciate that attention, because I don't really have a connection to the aliens per se. Like I think they're funny, but I don't really care about what happens to them because they've been shown to be able to basically survive anything, except probably like a T-Rex. But I always know they're going to be okay. But the people in the wall, though, now that is a storyline. And I've been following it, and now there's a blackout, and I'm just really enjoying the show. So let me know what y'all think about like Solar Opposites and how it relates to Rick and Morty. And just let me know what y'all think about the show. My biggest crutch as a creator, and more specifically, somebody that talks about movies, TV, and anime on the internet as like a critic, and I put critic in air quotes because I do a lot more than criticize, and there's like a lot more that goes into what I'm making, more so than just me either talking good or talking bad about a movie. I think critics do get a bad rap, but depending on like the attention to detail and like what people pull from your commentary, it says a lot, and I'm not trying to like highbrow this conversation at all, but the main thing I want to say is like, if I could solve this problem for myself, and it's an easy answer, what I'm saying? If I could solve this problem for myself, then I'm gonna be out of here. But I have the hardest problem with rewatching movies, bro. Specifically movies, because I can rewatch an anime. I have not rewatched Game of Thrones. I have not, rewatched what, name a movie, I don't know, but I have not rewatched a lot of movies, and I feel like becoming an expert in something, like you gotta kind of know a lot about it, and I pride myself on being able to remember a lot, like, but sometimes it takes me a little while to get there. And I'm not saying this to like have y'all feel bad about it or anything. It's just like a open dialogue that I want to see how y'all feel about rewatching stuff, because I know, like for me, once I see something, like I like the idea that I have about it in my head, and I feel like if I go rewatch it again, that might change. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if I don't get out the thought that I have to either writing it down or making a video about it or making a post about it, whatever, then it's like, dang, it's not as original as what it was. But I also feel like there's beauty in rewatching stuff, because you'll notice things that you did not notice before. But I just know that's something I need to get better at, and it'll lead into like next video I'll make too, which is talking about just picking a topic, because it's like when it comes to like trivia or something like that, like I want to know everything. Like I want to know more about some specific things than others. So I don't know. I just feel like people be rewatching stuff so easily, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it sometimes, like they might watch a movie 2 or 3 times before they make a review. I'm just like, that first time is the one that hit, So at the same time, sometimes I'll be like, yo, I need to revisit that. But I like revisiting it later on. Like have some time pass. Let me watch some more different things that I might be able to pull something from it then. So maybe that's really it. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Do y'all really be rewatching stuff, or do y'all just watch it one time, or don't even finish what you're watching? I don't know how people do that. They start watching something and don't finish it, like in the moment, especially if you like it. I could say if something's like real bad, but it's like I be wanting to know what the ending is. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it took me so long to finish Alien Romulus, bro, because I was spooked, but I needed to know what happened and how it ended. Okay, so first things first, shout out to Tracy Allen, bro, because I've watched a lot of his content over the years, but this came from a stream, I believe. I think it was on his live clips channel that I saw this. But I have not a problem with the take, because I think they're 2 different shows, right? I have a problem with like the premise of like how we go about talking about some of these enemies. And I get it, you know, it's a part of the game. The content game is not necessarily to pit youngins against each other, but to say that you would not like Baki after watching Kenichi implies that you have not seen Kenichi before Baki. You know what I'm saying? Which people might not have. You know what I'm saying? Netflix exists now. So like Kenichi is a deep cut for sure. I don't remember which order I saw Kenichi or Baki in, because I watched the OG Baki too. When he had like orange hair instead of red, brownish hair, like in the new age animated joint. But I just think they're two completely different shows. Yes, they're about fighting, and fighting is the main thing in them, and being strong and stuff like that. But Kenichi is about like more of, you know, a noob becoming a master type of situation. Like, so you get to see the journey of a character. But like Baki is really about like a child prodigy defeating the GOAT, and when the GOAT is your father. It's mainly like those types of storylines. So I get if you're talking like, you know, action and like specific, you know, fighting styles and stuff like that, because like with Kenichi, the whole premise is that like he gets to learn from all these different masters. That's why he's the mightiest disciple. I wish it would have continued on going, but I think my main thing about the video in general is just like the fact that if you watch Kenichi, you'll no longer like Baki. I just think that's like, why can't we like both? You know what I'm saying? Like, why we have to choose, you know? But that's just me. That's how I think about things. But let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you like Kenichi more, or do you like Baki more? Because I don't think there's nothing wrong with liking one more than the other. But like, I think they're both dope, in my opinion. And you know what I'm saying? I'm just me. So I'm just curious to see what y'all think about that. But shout out to Tracy Allen for just even putting that in the zeitgeist, because youngins might not even know about Kenichi for real. You know what I'm saying? That's like I said, like that's a deep cut versus like Baki still getting more and more content to this day. So, you know, and there's something to say about that too. But I ain't gonna say too much. I know how people feel about Baki, but that's my GOAT. So okay, first off, shout out to the Midnight Boys for bringing up this age-old question. Who is your favorite Ninja Turtle? For me, like my man Van said, bro, Raphael. Raphael's my GOAT, bro. I understand the initial appeal of, you know, Leonardo or Mikey. You know, some people might like Donatello, I don't know. But, you know, when I put the poll up on my YouTube, it was mainly Leo and Mikey fans out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to cap to you. I just think that, you know, being a Raphael stan, I guess, I don't know. Like, that's my favorite turtle. You know, I think it says something about you. You know, like, and not in a crazy way, but just like, I feel like out of all the turtles, Raphael has been the most consistent as far as storyline. You know, like there's always something there that is deeper than the rest of the turtles. Most of the time, Mikey is just a, you know, comedic factor. Last Ronin aside, you know what I'm saying? You can't take the Last Ronin out of things. Right, and Leo is the de facto leader. So if you like enjoy those leader like qualities all the time or whatever, being the best and doing the right thing and all that stuff, and no complexity at all, you know, I guess he had a little thing with Karai and stuff like that. But for the most part, like standard goody two shoes. And then you got Donnie, you know, techno genius, and he had his like affinity for April in some of the cartoons and stuff like that. But for the most part, hands down, Raphael always has something to say. You know what I'm saying? Always gives you a nugget, whether it's like, you know, dealing with wanting to be the best but not getting the same respect, or, you know, having anger problems or whatever. Like there's something that you can always learn from Raphael's storyline. So that's why I really rock with him. Shout out to the Midnight Boys for bringing this back to light. But let me know in the comment section, who is your favorite Ninja Turtle? After going on my streak of like uploading like 5 times a day on TikTok, I learned a lot. And mainly was the fact that I could do that. You know what I'm saying? I think mainly if you want to upload a lot in a short amount of time, it's really just format issues. You know what I'm saying? Like the content kind of turns around and it starts to make itself essentially, you know? And I tried to get up to the point where I was doing like 8 videos a day, but I think 5 is really the sweet spot, because at 5, then I know that I can start making those, you know, videos better, you know, until I get to the point where I'm like, you know, I could chat and every little thing I can make a video on, which is not like a thing that's like so out of the box that I can't do it. It's just not my style. You know what I'm saying? And even doing this kind of video right here, where I'm not necessarily talking about the stuff that I like to talk about all the time, which is like movies, TV, and anime, I don't do that a lot, you know? But after, you know, starting my new phase of content creation, I guess you could call it. I don't know what you call it. But it's like just doing something like the walk and talks. That turned into a whole complete different thing. I'm like responding to y'all's comments, and then now that it's getting cold, it's like, okay, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? How do I transition that? Now we got car chats, you know? So it's like this month was really about getting all my ducks in a row, and I'm super excited to get into it, man. If you listen this long, shout out to you. Okay, y'all, so I've been watching Gachi Akuda. Now, I'm not completely caught up with the anime, mainly because I'm watching it in dub. Don't get mad at me. You know what I'm saying? If I really needed to watch it immediately, I could watch it in sub, but I'm choosing not to. Just keep it a buck. I'm choosing not to. Now, I finally caught up to the point where I hit the episode. And if you don't know the episode I'm talking about the Amo episode. Now, I like Gachi Akuda, and I think that it's a very interesting anime, but that was dark. I'm not gonna cap. That was dark, and these are like, I'm not gonna say these are not stories that need to be told or whatever, because I feel like they had a sensitivity to it, but it just came out of left field for me. I was like, oh dang, this is what we're doing, you know. But I'm still enjoying the anime regardless. I think, you know, you don't see that a lot, but I think it's something that's like innovative, and I felt like they did kind of the best they could do with, you know, displaying something like that. But I'm not gonna cap, it was hard to watch. You know what I'm saying? It didn't discourage me from watching the rest of the show, just because it's like, you know, I think the overall story of Gachi Akuda is still very enticing, as far as like how we're gonna get back to the surface, all the different factions, whether it's the Raiders or, you know, you got just everybody in the show. It's like so many things I'm learning. I'm really enjoying the world building that is, you know, coming along with some of these backstories. But I don't see like a ceiling for this joint. I feel like this joint could go as crazy as it really wants to, and that's super exciting because, you know, Rudo is like a character that I won't say is like one-dimensional, but because there's a lot going on in his head, not necessarily, you know, he can actively speak on. He's a very interesting character to watch and kind of listen to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm enjoying Gachi Akuda. Okay, so I've released my weapons G5 score a little while ago. I mean, it's been a minute. I'm not gonna cap, it's been a minute. But I really just wanted to talk about one thing, and that was the ending, because regardless of how satisfying the ending was, as far as like what happened to the clown witch lady, it was just like, okay, I guess that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was hilarious because it was just like, you know, breaking literally everything. It was so strong. Kids were strong, bro. Breaking through everything didn't matter, but it was out of left field, and I kind of feel like after all that buildup, I kind of wanted a better resolution, because I still had so many questions going into, you know, finishing the movie. Mainly, you know, where the heck were the visions from? Like, why were we seeing the clown before we knew that the lady was even like a real entity? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of layers to this movie that make it spooky, but not all of them get answers. And sometimes that's the best kind of, you know, answer or question you can pose. But the ending was crazy. I'm not gonna cap, that show was crazy, because it was literally like, it was just chaos. It was just chaos, bro. And, you know, I enjoyed it, but the aftermath of like, yo, these kids will never be the same was sad, bro. It was sad. Some of them were still nonverbal. Some of them like had like little, you know, updates to their status, but like forever changed, bro. Forever changed. Okay, so I don't know if y'all saw the graphic of what I got next for my MCU watch list, but I'm excited because we did the MCU tier list, right? and a lot of movies were still left off of there. But what I liked about it is that it kind of gave me a roadmap of like how I'm going to start rewatching some of these movies because I haven't seen them in a while. So basically, I'm gonna start with Thor: The Dark World, and I'm gonna end at Infinity War. Now, this just goes for things that are on Disney Plus. Obviously, like I don't know when I'll get to the point where I'm watching Infinity War, but you know there might be new movies in the midst of that. But I really want to feel like I know more about the MCU than I constantly do now, concretely do now, because I feel like I have a lot of like, you know, knowledge as far as like what's going on or what happened. But there's been so many movies, bro. There's been so many movies, and there's been so many movies I haven't seen in a while that I just feel like I need to do a rewatch, bro. I haven't done one in a few years. So, and the fact that I'm kind of, you know, breaking it down in a way that I literally got it written out, the order I'm gonna do it. Literally from like based on my tier list of like movies I did not like, I'm starting with those. And you know, we're gonna see how things end up shaking out because I didn't give a score for Thor: The Dark World when I first watched it. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be interesting to see how we feel about it now in 2025 going into 2026. So let me know what y'all think. What movie would y'all start with on MCU rewatch? Okay, so as y'all know, I've already finished Neon Genesis Evangelion for the first time. I gave my score, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit before you know, I can move on to my next mecha anime, which I have not decided yet. But I enjoyed watching Evangelion Neon Genesis, whatever, however y'all, it's a long name, right? I enjoyed watching this joint all the way up till like episode 20. That's where things got a little weird. And weird in like artistic choice or artistic, you know, chances that they took. Now that I have the background on like why that happened, they basically, essentially, from what I've heard from some of y'all in the comments, is that they ran out of money, and you know, basically they wanted to finish the narrative, but they only had so much to work with as far as animation, and I feel like it suffered for that. Even though like I never really felt like the anime was really like that crazy. I think it was more like existential and like provocative more than anything because of just the nature of like the existentialism and like, you know, it's literally child soldiers, you know what I'm saying? So it's an anime that I would recommend, but not for like the first mecha anime that you watch, you know what I'm saying? But that's just me, you know what I'm saying? I think the whole time I was really just waiting to figure out like what the heck the, you know, Evangelion is, what is Project Ava. And the explanation I got and how we got there, to me, was just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? It was this big looming thing. That's the thing that kept me watching, you know? But because it wasn't the mechas, it wasn't the mechs or the Avas, I should say. I think the storyline with Shinji and, you know, his backstory with his mother and his father and, you know, all the kids really, and how they see themselves in the world that they live. I was just like, it got to the point where I was just like, okay, like this is very simple. I get it. It kind of felt like they was beating me over the head with the narrative, but you know, by the time we got to the end, especially after episode 20, I was like, all right, I'm ready for the next thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for the next thing. But let me know what y'all think about Evangelion Neon Genesis. I said it backwards. I'm sorry. But I think it was still good. What if I told you that A$AP Rocky is a better actor than he is a rapper? Is that hard to believe? I think that he has given us more in the movie space, film industry, than he has in a while with his music. Now that could be literally on purpose, but the fact that we got a song in, you know, his newest movie with Denzel Washington, Highest to Lowest, that is like, to me, not the kind of music that he makes, but it still be trending on TikTok. I still see videos all the time about that joint, mainly just the hook, and that was like the main part of the movie. If you seen the movie, then you know, right? But I don't know if I had the expectation to hear a great song from A$AP Rocky at this point to, you know, see what we got in the movie and being like, oh, he's back. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy his actual performance and as far as acting more so than and I don't think he's missed like as an actor. You know, Highest to Low is not the greatest movie of all time by any means. I said that Jones basically mid, but you know, I think in retrospect, looking at ASAP Rocky more as an actor than a rapper, that you might be on to something there. Okay, so as y'all know, I've been in my scary movie bag a little bit. You know, I'm getting better with time. And I've seen Weapons this year, and I've seen him, and they have something in common: a crazy freaking ending. I want to know what ending was not necessarily more crazy or scary or whatever. I just want to know which ending was more like it worked the best for you. Not to say like one was better than the other necessarily, because I think Weapons is obviously a better movie than, you know, what Weapons is a better movie than him, just for the simple fact that I give Weapons a 10, right? Like, I really like that movie. But the ending for me, I made a video about it a little bit earlier, is like fun, but is like out of nowhere in a sense as far as like what actually happened. But it was satisfying, right? And then I like the solution of him as far as like what they decided to do, but the execution of how he got there is the problem with it for me. You know, but I want to hear y'all's perspective as far as like, you know, him and Weapons. Okay, so I'm almost caught up with Dandadan, and I was gonna make a video earlier before I took a break about how Dandadan fell off. Now, obviously, people love Dandadan, right? And I don't think it fell off. I think I fell off just because of the nature of where I saw the anime going. You know, I saw a trend, and it's not that I didn't necessarily like it. I just wasn't as interested. I wasn't as invested. But after watching, well, I think I'm like 23 episodes in. I think I only got like one more. I just wanted to say before like I go out and give a full review. And Dandadan, they kind of just be doing stuff. Like a lot of stuff is cool that they do, but it don't make a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not the most technical anime that needs those types of descriptions. Like it's not Jujutsu Kaisen, right? Where it's like a little bit too much, but it's in this like gray area where it's like, because of the quirky nature of the show, I don't care as much for things to be as like, you know, accurate as possible. It's an anime at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But some of the, you know, solutions and some of the answers that the characters be coming up with, it's just like, bro, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? What are we doing? They got a kaiju in one of the episodes, and their idea is to bring out a Megazord, right? And I'm just like, I called it. But it's still fun. It's still fun. Like I can't really hate on it. I just want to know, are y'all having the same kind of like push and pull when it comes to Dandadan? Or is it more so like the narrative and the story and the characters that it's just like overwhelming all of that? Because sometimes I can't help but be like, what the heck are they doing? Like what's going on for real? Because Ghost and aliens don't really make sense. It doesn't mix, and I guess that's the point. Okay, so if y'all have been with me on my One Piece journey, it's been a little minute since I give y'all an update, and that's because I don't want to finish the show. I don't want to finish the show until they start re-releasing updated episodes, and I'm very close to being done. You know, I got Kuma's full backstory now. I know why he did what he did, and it broke me. It broke me. I'm at the point where I'm really like watching every episode on the edge of my seat, because it's like, bro, it could literally be over. It could literally be over after this, and now I have to wait, you know? And I'm not a big fan of rewatching stuff, but I think with One Piece, I'm going to have to rewatch some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily whole arcs or go back and start from zero, but just relive some of the good old days. You know what I'm saying? Relive some of the fights. I used to do this with Naruto all the time, but let me know how y'all feel about it. How actively are y'all still watching One Piece if y'all have finished it? Like, what do y'all do? You know, I'm not about to go read a manga. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I keep telling me to do it, but I'm not. I'm just being honest. I'm not. I just want to watch it. So once I've caught up to the dub or sub version, and I'm watching sub. Now I'm used to that. Now I just want the whole thing. So. Okay, so I finally watched Lilo and Stitch, the movie, right? And not the animated one, the new one that came out in 2025, right? Or 2024? I think it came out this year. Pretty sure it came out this year. And reason why I'm wondering when it came out, bro, is simply because I didn't go see it when it came out. you know? And you might be thinking like, that's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Lilo and Stitch. Like, what are we doing? I finally watched it on Disney Plus, and I gotta say, bro, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Not in the acting per se. You know, I think Nani, I think Lilo, I think Stitch, you know, they're good. But they changed the whole freaking story. They changed the whole freaking story, bro. And after watching, like, I'm rewatching the older stuff now too. Like, as far as like Lilo Stitch, or Stitch the movie. You know, there's Lilo and Stitch 2, and there's Stitch has a glitch, something like that. There's a lot. And I'm reliving a lot of those things, and I'm just like, bro, how are you just not gonna include Gantu and make Jumba the big bad of the movie? I'm just like, yo, y'all should have just never made this. Like, at this point, y'all should have never made this. And there's so many iconic moments that they did not include in the movie. And I'm glad I didn't go see it in theaters. You know what I'm saying? I think they got the core of what makes Lilo and Stitch, especially like the relationships between all the characters, but everything else, bro, they basically they changed half the movie, bro. That's kind of my explanation for the score I gave it. I don't know if that score might even be a little bit too high, if I'm keeping it a buck with you, but you know, I just think that they should have waited and got permission to do all the things. You know, I get some of the stuff you can include in it. Some of the stuff is like, we don't want to touch that. But just to not have Gantu in it, I don't know if it costs too much money and the animation, and just like, we don't want to really do the aliens. And why was Pleakley so slimy? These are the questions I have, bro. These are the questions I have. But Stitch is still a good movie. Lilo and Stitch is still a good movie at its core. So if you really want to rewatch it, I know this is a random time to make this video, just rewatch the old joint, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Just rewatch the old joint. But I did think it was cool that they made the social worker Nani from the actual old animated series, which is like the voice actor. She plays one of the what do you call it, social worker people that was trying to take Lilo. She plays that character, and she has like a sentimental moment with Nani in the movie, and I was like, oh, that's cool, you know. But I don't think the actors did a bad job. I just think they just changed way too much.